A very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world. Global TV's News Prime, live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Judith Peters. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has extended his profound condolences to the government and people of Libya, following the aftermath of the devastating impact of Storm Daniel and the subsequent flooding that has severely impacted the eastern region of the country. A statement signed by Special Advisor to Tinubu on Media and Publicity, Anjorin Galili, says the president further commiserated with all families who have lost loved ones in the monumental disaster, saying he sent his best wishes for a speedy recovery to all who have been injured during the tragic incident. Anjari said the incident has showed the great people of Libya of Nigeria's unwavering solidarity and goodwill during these trying times, adding that the disheartening loss of lives, homes, livelihood, and critical infrastructure remains a shared grief that further unites the people of both nations. Also, the Vice President Kashim Shettima and the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Abubakar Bagudu, would lead stakeholders across the country to design new economic reforms. The federal government has also assured Nigerians that the current economic hardship is temporal, saying other reforms by the administration of President Bola Tinubu would start yielding results. This was disclosed at the 3-day 22nd edition National Council on Development Planning (NCDP) and Joint Planning Board (JPB) meetings held at the Center for Black Culture, Osogbo, Osun State Capital. The Director of Special Duties of the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, Gloria Ahmed, explains that resolutions from the past edition have served as critical input to the National Economic Council, NEC. Also, the Armed Forces of Nigeria says Operation Adenkai in the northeast has effectively curtailed Boko Haram and other terrorist activities in the region. Director of Defense Media Operations Major General Edward Buba made this known while keeping journalists abreast of the operational activities of the military in the theater of operation in the last 1 week. It stated that this is indicative of large-scale surrender of large cache of arms and ammunition to troops. Kikeloma Okere brings us more.
According to the Director of Defense Media Operations, operational activities of troops in Operation Hadarin Daji and Operation Whale Punch have made significant impact to cocktail banditry and insurgency in the northwest and north-central regions of the country. During the course of operations in the last 1 week, the military neutralized 151 terrorists, arrested 456 terrorists, and arrested 45 perpetrators of oil theft. Troops also rescued 76 kidnapped hostages and denied oil theft of the sum of 1,11,851,250 naira.
12 terrorists, while others fled. In the engagement, troops recovered 5 AK-47 rifles, 2 fabricated rifles, 2 den guns, 30 rounds of 7.62 special, among others. In a separate incident, on the 7th of September, troops conducted offensive operations to terrorist enclave in Goza local government area of Ondo State. Troops made contact with the terrorists and neutralized 25 of them. Troops recovered 8 AK-47 rifles, 27 rounds of 7.62 special, 1 Beretta pistol, 13 rounds of 9mm, among others.
The upsurge in anti-illegal oil bunkering operations by troops of Operation Delta Safe in the South-South region has yielded desirable outcomes. Troops in the Niger Delta area discovered and destroyed 21 dugout pits, 56 boats, 138 storage tanks, 235 cooking ovens, 6 pumping machines, 1 outboard engine, 2 speedboats, 89 illegal refinery sites, and the sum of 13,950 naira.
21 dugout pits, 56 boats, 138 storage tanks, among others. Troops also apprehended 45 oil thieves, perpetrators. The air component of Operation Delta Sig conducted air interdiction over Bile and Ijokiri, respectively. Active illegal refining sites were acquired.
He added that the military operations underscores the importance of ongoing fight against insurgency, which is critical to the nation's efforts in achieving peace and security.
Thank you very much for that report. Also, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja on Thursday has set aside the judgment of the National and State House of Assembly Election Tribunal delivered on July 24th, which declared Ndudi Elumelu of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as winner of the last election of Anocha Oshimili Federal Constituency of Delta State. The court, which is sitting in Asaba, Delta State, affirmed the candidate of the Labour Party, Ngozi Okoli, as a duly elected lawmaker. It faulted the tribunal for voiding Okoli's election and proceeded to dismiss the petition filed by Elumelu before the trial tribunal and on which the voided judgment was given. The court agreed with counsel to the Labour Party, Mahmood Magaji, that contrary to the finding of the tribunal, Okoli was duly nominated and sponsored by his party, and that he resigned his appointment as a senior special assistant to Delta State government as required by the Constitution. Also, operatives of the Imo State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has intercepted and arrested 6 pregnant females suspected to be running a baby factory in the state. The arrest followed intelligence on the activities of the suspect. I bring you more details on this report. Listen. According to the state NDLEA, operatives while on a patrol along the Aba-Owerri Expressway intercepted 5 child trafficking victims who run a baby factory. The arrest came at a time when they were being relocated to a safer area in Ike Nibu from a hideout in Naze, all in Owerri. The oldest among them is Divine Ademoye, who said she is 8 months pregnant and confessed that this is her second time of giving birth and selling the child.
When I delivered the baby is achieved to bring down the naked that you got.
How much you say the person go pay you?
She now call someone like she's watching me. She not pay me any amount. But she said that, you know, after when they take care of me, I got the baby. We talk. That's why they made me, I don't believe that if nothing will happen to me. Then we talk about how much she has tried that you give me before, so I will give it and help myself.
One of them that caught the attention of many is 15 years old Chioma Emmanuel. She said she was impregnated by her elder sister's husband and in turn asked to go into hiding to deliver the baby. Opara Gift, on her part, said she separated with her husband and ventured into the act since there was no other means of survival for her.
My sister's husband got me pregnant. When my sister got to know, she sent me out of her husband's house. And I'm an orphan. I don't know I don't have any help. That's why I go to this group to them to help me out. I have a child before now, but I separated with my husband following the discovery that he is an outcast. And when I asked him what do we do with the baby I'm carrying, he said I should do whatever I like with it. And I don't have any other choice but to do this.
NDLEA authorities in interviews with the suspect revealed that all the victims do not know the men that got them pregnant, adding that the victims will be handed over to the relevant authorities for proper investigation and consequent arrest of others. Thank you. Still the News Prime on Global Television. And now there is a widespread blackout across the country following the total collapse of the national electricity grid early Thursday morning. It was gathered that the grid collapsed totally around 12:40 a.m. on September 14, 2023, leading to the massive loss of supply to power distributors nationwide. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, which manages Nigeria's grid, has yet to make any statement about the development. About a week ago, the transmission firm celebrated what it described as 400 days of power grid stability in Nigeria, as it claims that the grid witnessed no collapse all through the 400 days. Meanwhile, Adebayo Adelabu, the country's Minister for Power, has shared a statement on what caused the national grid collapse that has resulted in a general power outrage experienced across the country. According to him, there was a fire at Kainji Jabi line, but the outbreak has been taken care of. You're watching the News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Start Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across our social media platform using our Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your TV screen. And when the News Prime returns, President Tinubu wills investors to Nigeria Aviation Project. We'll tell you about this and more right after this break. Please don't go nowhere. Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, it's Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the News Prime from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Now on the news, the French Foreign Minister has announced on Thursday that a French citizen detained in Niger is the wake of the coup that ousted President Mohamed Bazoum has been freed. The French government says it welcomes the liberation of Stephen Julien. A spokeswoman for the ministry, Julien said a businessman long based in Niger had a role representing the interests of French expatriates at the French embassy. It was arrested on September 8 amid deterioration and ties that followed a coup in the former French colony in West Africa. Moreover, the Presidential Guard seems to be dissatisfied with the means granted to it, its financial emolument, and its increasingly harsh working condition. Meanwhile, rumors of a mutiny are growing within the Presidential Guard. There is now growing signs that the Presidential Guard's confidence is high command in eroding. Consequently, disagreement among junta members are growing, both over how to deal with the already pervasive effect of sanctions and on the future intervention of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. On the foreign scene, Libya was reeling Wednesday from a massive flood that killed more than 2,000 people, wreaking havoc in the eastern city of Derna, where bodies wrapped in blankets were lining the ravaged street. Relief missions gathered pace with Turkey, Egypt, and United Arab Emirates among the first nations to rush aid to the war-scattered country after the disaster that has left about 10,000 missing, according to international humanitarian workers. The Mediterranean coastal city of Derna was hit by a huge flash flood late Sunday that witnesses linked to a tsunami after two upstream dams burst when torrential rains brought by Storm Daniel battered the region. The confirmed death toll in the politically fractured North African country reached 2,300 by Tuesday afternoon, but some regional officials were quoted as giving figures more than twice as high. Still, Tunisia has denied 5 EU lawmakers entry into the country, the European Parliament said on Thursday. This comes amid ongoing debate about a migration-related aid deal signed this summer. In July, Brussels offered Tunis €1 million worth of aid in the controversial deal. The deal is aimed at combating irregular migration to the EU and was signed in spite of allegations of human rights abuses by the Tunisia government. The agreement, which came with conditions that Tunisia is yet to meet, is meant as an incentive for Tunisia to curb the departure of migrants trying to reach EU countries by sea. The parliamentarians planned to meet with civil society representatives in Tunisia from Thursday to Saturday, after requests for meetings with the government were rejected. The European Commission said it was surprised by the move after EU officials had visited Tunisia several times in the past months. And now, a big tech executive, including Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, traveled to Capitol Hill on Wednesday to share their plans for artificial intelligence as the U.S. prepares to draw up legislation to better control the technology. Senator Chuck Schumer, the Democratic majority leader of the U.S. Senate, has planned a series of so-called AI Innovation Forum, closed-door meetings where lawmakers can quiz tech leaders about the technology that has taken the world by storm since the release of ChatGPT last year.
Elon, what did you say to the senator? What did you say to the senator?
The reason that I've been such an advocate for AI safety in advance of sort of anything terrible happening is that I think the consequences of AI going wrong are severe. So we have to be proactive rather than reactive. I think the probability of there being some sort of AI regulatory agency that stands on its own, similar to the FAA or FCC, is likely at some point. If you take the example of say, seatbelts. Seatbelts were opposed by the auto industry for a very long time, even though the data was very clear that they're safe, that they radically improve deaths and injuries. So, you know, we don't want to be in that situation where we're fighting regulations, even though, you know, there's a safety thing. We can't wait for millions of people to die in auto accidents. As you know, and it's important to just elevate the question here. The question is really one of civilizational risk.
Europe is well advanced in its own AI Act, and the pressure is on U.S. lawmakers to avoid falling behind and seeing AI overwhelm society, with lost jobs, rampant disinformation, and other consequences before it is too late. Still, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, has released a statement saying that fossil fuels continue to make up 80% of the global energy mix. In a September 14th statement, OPEC called out the assertion by the International Energy Agency, IEA, that fossil fuel demand would peak before 2030, stating that the assertion was not made on database forecasts. OPEC noted that it is an extremely risky and impractical narrative to dismiss fossil fuels or to suggest that they are at the beginning of their end. The OPEC statement also referenced its Secretary General Iswah Gas, who had said that such narrative only sets the global energy system up to fail spectacularly, leading to energy chaos on a potentially unprecedented scale, with dire consequences for economies and billions of people across the world. According to OPEC, energy issues have climbed back to the top of the agenda in recent years for population, as many have seen how experimental net zero policies and targets impact their lives. Also, the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAN, on Wednesday announced a shutdown of the Yakubu Gowon Airport in Jos, Plateau State, for 1 week. FAN management said the airport will be temporarily closed to flight operations from Saturday, September 23rd to September 29, 2023 for runway maintenance. FAN said the closure is necessary to ensure the safety of passengers and aircraft. And for more updates, let's go on sport with Sharon Ajay.
Nigerian Super Falcon forward Desire Ugochi Oparanozie has announced her retirement from football for both country and club side at the age of 29. Oparanozie was included in the squad that represented Nigeria at the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup, which started in July and ended in August. In a post on Wednesday on her X account, she expressed gratitude to her fans, family, and friends, thanking them for the show of love and support over the years. She, however, announced that it's time to take a bow, as she believes there's no better time than now. She stated that the post is her official announcement of her retirement from professional football for both club and country. During her 13 years career, Oparanozie played for 9 different clubs, taking off from Bayelsa Queens in 2010. In a different development, ahead of the 2023 African Cup of Nations AFCON in Côte d'Ivoire, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has unveiled a list of 85 referees, comprising center referees, assistant referees, video assistant referees, VARs, technical instructors, physical trainers, VAR technicians, and IT support for a preparation course. Referees from about 25 countries were listed to take part in the course that will serve as a refresher for AFCON 2023 officials. However, it's been observed that no Nigerian referee was included on the list. Two North African countries, Egypt and Algeria, have the highest numbers of names penned down in the center referee lists, as Morocco, Mauritania, Mauritius have 2 each. Other countries featured on the list are Gabon, Ghana, Benin, Congo, Somalia, and a host of others. Sharon Ajay reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you very much, Sharon Ajay. And that's it on the Global TV's News Prime, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across our social media platform using a Global TV NG and other handles now showing on your TV screen. On behalf of the production team, I am Judith Peters. Thank you so very much for watching. You enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you again at the news cycle. Thank you.